We want to keep our costs low, especially if you're not at a point where you're making money. If you're not at a point where you're making money, do not burden yourself with unnecessary, superfluous costs. Just don't do it. Keep your costs low. We do this as corporate entities because it simply, quite frankly, it provides asset protection for us. Please get you a professional email address. Now, what is a professional email address going to cost? That showed you. You can, in fact, get your government contracting business up to speed for less than $1,000. Spend less than $1,000 until you secure that contract. You can always take your expenses up. Welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Curtis A. Merriweather Jr. Now, the purpose of this channel is to educate entrepreneurs. And we educate entrepreneurs through education, consultation, and training support services. My goal is to help lower your learning curve and to accelerate your business profitability along your government contracting journey. We want to provide advanced education that will allow us to share our practical experiences and lessons learned based on 27 years of progressive experience. As many of you guys know who've been followers of this channel for any length of time, I finished my Ph.D. in management in the spring of 2023. So the goal here is to combine the theoretical as well as the practical. And I want to give it to you in bite-sized chunks so that you can implement. Knowledge is no good if it's not applied. That's the goal of this channel. On the screen, you'll see my Instagram handle. Please note that my Instagram handle has changed. Many of you like to send me direct messages, which is completely fine. But my Instagram handle has changed, so just be mindful of that. You'll also see on the screen is our 8-figure government contracting URL and our course store library. I will be doing our next information session on January 2nd, 2024. It is absolutely free of charge, but registration is required. Seats are filling up, so please register sooner rather than later. Before I jump into my topic, 2 things I want to share very quickly. I will be doing a 2024, January 2024 boot camp. You want to register for that. This is going to be a boot camp like none other. It will be on a Saturday afternoon from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am going to accelerate your journey that day. I'm going to share some insights that I quite frankly haven't shared on any platform. I haven't shared it in my 8-figure government contracting community. I haven't shared it on YouTube, but this information is going to accelerate your journey. And you're going to hear some things from me, quite frankly, that you just quite frankly have not heard and probably will never hear on YouTube. But I plan to demystify a lot of the processes. It's going to be an interactive day. You're going to walk away recharged and energized with a lot of tools, tips, and techniques designed to accelerate your process. Before we get into our topic, last but not least, I want to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and definitely hit the notification bell so anytime I produce new content, you will be notified most expeditiously. Many of you guys know, if you've been a subscriber of this channel for any length of time, I typically drop new content somewhere between Thursday and Saturday every week. And that schedule and battle rhythm will continue going forward. Okay, now that we got all that out the way, I want to get into my topic. Now, you've seen the title of this video. Now, this video was truly inspired based on a bunch of questions that I have. And oftentimes, because of the questions that I get from students and direct messages and the emails, the various ways that you all reach out to me, I asked myself the question, if I had to start over again, could I do this? Could I start a government contracting firm with less than $1,000? And the answer is yes. So in this video, I want to show you how to get up and running on your government contracting journey for less than $1,000. Now, of course, this doesn't include any kind of mentorship. You can learn one of two ways. You can either learn on your own by consuming free content that's available on social media. Hopefully you understand the difference between great information and information that's not so great, because you will have to navigate that in the social media space. Everything that's on the internet that's free is not always true. So just be mindful of that. So I talked about it before. Definitely, I would love to serve as your coach. So this $1,000 that we're getting ready to spend as we walk through this conversation does not include any kind of mentorship. We're just talking about the nuts and bolts, and we're making some assumptions that you already know what to do. That's not the case. We can have another conversation about how you get the know-how to know what to do so that you can actually do this successfully. But we're going to assume in this video that you already know what to do. You either have a mentor, or you've identified a mentor along your government contracting journey. Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump into our items. Number one, you got to form a business. To do this thing called government contracting, we don't do it as sole proprietors. We do this as corporate entities because it simply, quite frankly, it provides asset protection for us. In the event that something goes down, I'm a big risk guy. We manage our risk. We want to make sure that we cover any downside forces, any risk that would negatively impact the business. And one of the ways we do that is through corporate formation. Now, I'm not going to get into a whole conversation today about why incorporate. Hopefully by this point, you know that this is important. And hopefully at this point, you know you should be either an LLC or a C Corp. But I'm not providing financial advice. Please talk to your tax attorneys and accountants regarding your business structure and the best format for you based on your goals and the risk that you have. That aside. So we got to talk about business formation. Now, we talk about business formation. We can do this one of two ways. We can pay someone to do the business formation for us. Now, there's a company that I like to use. They're not paying me, so I'm not going to tell you the name of the company. But I did just run through very quickly that if I was to pay said organization to do my corporate formation, how much would it cost? And if I paid someone, I'm looking at about $503. Now, you said, Kurt, what is the $503 paying for? It's going to pay for the formation of the corporate entity, which is $99. It's going to pay for the attorney fees for formation, which is $125. It's going to pay the correspondent fee for formation, $30. It's going to pay for the state fee for formation, which is $150. So it gave me a subtotal of $305. In this package, I also included the bylaw formation, which is another $99. That's the governance structure for a corporation, whether C Corp or S Corp. Again, I recommend S Corp. Just talk to your professionals about what's the best structure for you. Okay, that's the Cadillac version. Remember, we want to do this for less than $1,000. And if I use this option, paying a third party to help me with my formation, I'm already at $503. Now, if you're not as concerned about price sensitivities, that may be an option for you. But again, in this video, we want to focus on maximizing our $1,000. And as you'll see at the end, I actually did this for less than $1,000. So if we're doing it to do it yourself, DIY, do it yourself, we're looking at $135 for business formation. Now, that's in my state. The business formation costs may look different based on your state. But in my state, business formation is $135. Tax ID number or EIN number. This is going to come through the Internal Revenue Service. You can get a tax ID or EIN. EIN is employer identification number. This is free, courtesy of Uncle Sam. They want to make sure that you have a tax ID number because they want you to pay your taxes, your federal taxes. As a business owner, you also have state and local tax, depending on what type of entity you're forming and what your business is doing. So I'm at $184. Oh, I got one more fee I forgot to tell you, a registered agent fee. So a registered agent, I don't want you to show up in the public record. I want you to have a registered agent. If you don't know what that is, please Google it. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about a bunch of the nuances here. I want to get this information to you relatively quickly. But look up a registered agent, and I want you to consider employing one. They're very inexpensive. You can get one for about $49 a year. And this is the person that if there's any kind of legal or official documentation that needs to come your way, this is the person that's going to receive that information on your behalf. That's a $49 per year fee. So we're at $184 total with our do-it-yourself corporate formation versus the formation paid for by a third party at $503. So we already have a significant saving. So very first thing we all have to do is a business formation. In my example, I did $184 formation. Prices may be a little different for you based on your state, but we still have a significant savings. Okay. And then of course, if you want to use a more elaborate version, you can pay someone to do it. And in my bare bones example, I did it for $503. And I did this today live just to get in, just so I had accurate information to share with you. Okay. So now we have our corporate entity formed. The very next thing we have to do is we have to have a business checking account. We do not commingle our personal funds and our business funds. Business expenses need to come out of the business account. Personal expenses come out of the personal account. This is one of the reasons why a lot of entrepreneurs can't get funding for their business, because they commingle funds. Not this video, but I had to say that. So get you a business checking account. There are a bunch of free business checking options. Again, we want to do this on a budget. As your company becomes more profitable, there's money coming in, you can always switch your account. But for this video, we want to do this for under $1,000. So I'm going to say, if you set up your free business checking account, let's put $100. You could put $50, $25, whatever works for you. You could put $10,000 there for all that matters. But we want to do this for under $1,000. So we're going to put $100 in my free business checking account. Now, I did some search today. I did a little bit of research today. Here are a few options for your free business checking. You got American Express has a free business checking account. Bank of America has a Business Advantage checking account that is free. Chase has a Chase Business Complete banking account, and US Bank has an account called the Silver Business Checking. Now, also check into your community banks and your credit unions. They may also offer some free checking for your business account. I don't want you incurring monthly fees, especially because the business may not be making money yet. So we want to make sure we minimize our expenses, especially always, but especially in this formation, because we want to make sure that you can do this, in fact, for less than $1,000. So let's keep right on moving. So we talked about business formation was our first thing. Our second thing was our free checking. The third thing, we need a web domain. You say, Kurt, what do you mean by a web domain? I mean ABC Company. Insert the name of your company, where I put abccompany.com or abccompany.net. We need to have a web presence. Now, there's a famous company out there that you can get a domain for as little as $9.99. And on average, depending if you have one of those unique domains, it could be more, but you will see typically between $9.99 and $14.99. And that's either a .com, which is what we prefer, or a .net. But in all possible, let's get a .com URL address. So you're going to have the name of your company, .com. This is going to establish your web presence. We're only talking $15 on the high side, okay? $15 on the high side. So there's no reason why you should not have a professional web presence. Okay, now that we got our web domain, we need a professional email address. Please don't be sending government customers and prime contractors emails from Gmail or Ymail or AOL.com. Please get you a professional email address. Now, what is a professional email address going to cost? Between $2.99 a month up to $10.99 per month. Now, there's a particular domain that I like to use, and in that particular domain, you can, I'll just tell you who it is. It's actually GoDaddy. GoDaddy is the domain that I like. You can get the domains from $9.99 to $14.99 a month. And if you buy a domain from GoDaddy, you'll also have an option for email. An email account start at $2.99 and go to $10.99. You'll see the graphic on the screen. At $10.99 a month, if you do not have Microsoft Office Suite, it comes included. You'll get the online version of Microsoft Office Suite if you don't already have active Microsoft Office access. So this will give you Word, Excel, Outlook, their notes, PowerPoint, Teams. You'll have a whole platform, and also includes some enhanced security functions. So we now have talked about how to actually get you a professional email address. So you don't have to be emailing your customers with Gmail, Ymail, AOL, and all of these other generic email addresses. You need a website. You need a website. You need some type of web presence for your business. We're talking B2B, business to business, and B2G. We're talking websites. We want to make sure that our website confirms and aligns with the things that we're saying in our face-to-face meetings. So I often tell people your website will either confirm or invalidate the impression that you gave said customer in that initial engagement. So they're just looking to further confirm the great things they already think about you. So you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. And so again, we want to do this for under $1,000. I went and I did some further research today. And one of the options for website development is a site called Fiverr. Fiverr is a freelance service. Now, the job of the website is to bring your ideas to life. We do not want you to abdicate, to omit, to be negligent in your responsibility of doing the heavy lifting of ideation, market positioning, strategy, and value expression. That's your job. Your job is to provide the verbiage, the language, the copyright to your graphic artist, to your web designer. And their job is to bring your ideas to reality. That's their job. Make what you're trying to do, help you express that idea in a web format. Now, if you use Fiverr to do website creation, and Fiverr is where you actually purchase time from freelance graphic artists and web designers. Now, I just did a basic search today, and you'll see a whole bunch of freelancers you can browse through. I'm not endorsing any particular web designer or graphic artist, but when I did a cursory look, I found websites for as low as 200, as high as 600. Now, the one that I found, I actually going to show this on the screen, I found a standard package for $420. So, of course, you could go lower, you can go higher. Again, the purpose of this video, we want to do this in less than $1,000 to get our government contract up and rolling. Okay, not the contract, but to get our government contracting business up and rolling. So, in this standard option, this is a basic 7 to 8 web pages, and it's going to be a WordPress website, and it's going to be brand optimized. So they're going to make sure all your search engine SEO, search engine optimization stuff is in there. So this one is going to be delivered in 7 days. It's going to be a functional website based on the advertisement, 7 pages. It's going to be a responsive design. Content is going to be uploaded for you, 6 plugins and extensions, and even some e-commerce functionality if you want it. Now, that's not a big deal for us in the government contracting space, but it's there as an option. So you can actually probably downgrade your package if you don't need all of that, and it can support 20 products. This is probably for someone who's actually selling product probably to a B2C space. But I want to give you some ideas in terms of concept for how to do this smartly. So we talked about our website. Now, I'm going to briefly talk about your marketing artifacts. So if you already have Microsoft Office Suite, Microsoft PowerPoint, you can actually create your templates. In my course specifically, I provide our students with the templates to develop their corporate capability statement in one pager, but you can always go back to Fiverr, and so that's free. So, or you can always go back to Fiverr and find your graphic design artist to help you with the design of the artifacts. Again, you cannot offload the ideation, the value expression, the strategy onto the graphic designer, but their job is to help you bring your ideas to reality in a graphically aesthetic way. So just want to make sure we're not putting the copy, what they call it, the marketing language, verbiage onto the graphic designer. That's our job. The job of graphic design is to bring those ideas to reality in an aesthetically or eye-friendly, easy on the eye way that it grabs the attention and further cements that brand in the mind of said or potential customer. Okay. So marketing artifacts, like I said, in my course, I give out some free templates so that this can be done in a manner that is consistent with market standards for our industry. Okay. So we do a one pager and a corporate capability statement. You should do the same. Also, in marketing artifacts, think about a business card. May not be as important today. You can also do a virtual business card as well, but have some way that when you meet someone that you all can have an exchange of information. On the business cards, I have some cool things that I teach my students that I like to do on the back of my business cards, but those are your primary marketing artifacts. So after your website, you need your one pager, and you don't have to be website then marketing artifacts, but you need to be working on those things in tandem. You need your one pager, your corporate capability statement, and your business cards at a minimum. This is not B2C. We're doing B2B, business to business, and B2G, business to government marketing in the government contracting space, depending on whether you're prime or sub or some hybrid combination of the two. Okay. We need possibly a laptop. So I went and looked at a laptop. I found a $599 Dell Inspiron 3250 touch laptop. Intel Core i5 is our CPU processor. It is 8 gigabytes of memory, and that's 256 gigabyte SSD RAM, and it's in carbon black. And this is $599. If I get the open box version, I can get it for $539.99. So we need a laptop. Now, most of you all probably have a laptop already. So this is one of those expenses that you can probably push off into the future. But if you don't have one, this is a pretty decent laptop for $600. I've even seen some for $299. It depends on what your budget is. So there's a way we can do this in a way that's not expensive. Marketing artifacts. We have our marketing artifacts. Now, when we talk about marketing artifacts, we're talking about our corporate capability statement, one pager, and possibly business cards. This could also include a virtual business card. Now, I provide a template to my students. But if you remember from a few moments earlier, I talked about the MS Office suite being included in our GoDaddy package. The GoDaddy package was actually entitled Microsoft 365 Secure Online Essentials. It's $10.99 a month. We actually have our software package in that. So you don't have to actually go out and buy software if you don't already have a copy of Microsoft Office. Most of us I probably do. You can actually pick up a copy pretty inexpensively, but you can do it at a monthly cost at $10.99 a month with that package we talked about from GoDaddy. So there's your materials, the software necessary to build out your one-pager corporate capability statement. Yeah, your one page and your corporate capability statement. Now, if you want a completely free option, there's something called Google Docs. It's all free, completely free. And in Google Docs, they have software that's similar to the Microsoft Office suite. They have Docs, which is like their version of MS Word. They have Sheets, which is their version of Excel. They have Slides, which is their version of Microsoft PowerPoint, and a few others. They got Forms, Keep, Sites, Google Drive, which most of us are probably familiar with, Google Gmail, which is their version of Outlook. They have Google Meet, which is their version of Microsoft Teams, Calendar, and of course, Chat. And those are all free for personal use. You can get a standard business license for $12, but the personal version will be just fine for you. Now, when I take all of that into consideration and I look at my cost, I did hit the budget. Now, if I buy the laptop, which I don't need a laptop, if I buy the laptop, I'm at $41.51 with the laptop, and that's almost a $600 laptop. If I don't get the laptop, which I'm assuming most of you probably already have some type of laptop or even a tablet that you put the keyboard onto, we can do this for $852. Now, if you need a laptop, that means we can move some money around on the website design. We can go down to a smaller package, pick a different freelancer, or we may get a less elaborate laptop. We see that we can easily get our government contracting company on the way for $1,000 or less. We can easily do this. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about post-award. We're just going to mention them briefly because I don't want this video to be too long. But after contract, these are things we're going to make after we have an active contract. Don't mean we have people on contract yet. We're getting ready to do that process. But here's some things I need you to think about. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I don't want to make this video an hour long. You need to think about corporate insurance. We're going to start looking at our corporate insurance when we're purchasing our contract, either as a prime or definitely as a sub. We have to have a contract. We have to have corporate insurance. Now, this is in accordance with the FAR clause 52.228-5. This is the insurance clause. Work on government installation. This is actually that FAR clause. At a minimum, we have to have business automobile liability, commercial general liability, workers' comp, and employer liability. Now, when you get your insurance, you're going to get something called a COI. This is a certificate of insurance. This is what you give to the federal government or to your prime if you're a sub to let them know you are in fact insured. Here's a few things I need you to think about when you start talking about your insurance. This will be laid out in your subcontract documents or in the solicitation if you are awarded the winner in terms of what the minimums need to be from an insurance perspective. You're going to need business automobile liability. This is, again, look at your documents, but this is typically what you're going to see. Business automobile liability, you're going to need coverage for use of all owned, non-owned, and hired vehicles with limits of no less than $1 million per occurrence, combined with a single limit for bodily injury and property damage liability. So no less than $1 million. You're going to need commercial. This is under your insurance. You're going to need a commercial general liability coverage. This is coverage for third-party bodily injury and property damage, personal injury, products and completed operations, contractual liability, and independent contractor liability with limits not less than $1 million per occurrence and $2 million in aggregate. And you're going to also need your employer's liability. This is coverage for injuries to employees not covered by workers' comp, with limits of at least $1 million each incident, $1 million each employee by disease, and $1 million policy limit by disease. So again, you're going to take that right out of your solicitation or out of your subcontract document. You're going to send it to your insurance broker, and they're going to help look and shop for rates. Now, on typical, you're going to see a price between $1,300 and $1,800 a year for this. If your work is a little more dangerous, the rates could go up. If you're doing work overseas on federal contracts, you will need something in addition called DBA, which is Defense Base Act Insurance. Just cover this very briefly. If you're doing business in foreign countries, you need to think about DBA, workers' compensation, your general public and third-party liability, your professional liability. This is your error and omission insurances, automobile coverage or vehicle fleet coverage, your evacuation, medical, AD&D, and other personnel insurance. This is in the case something happens, you can do medical evacuations. You got political risk, war risk, and political violence. This is when you're doing work overseas in partnership with the federal government. And you got cargo, property, and construction, all risk. You need to, again, these are things to just talk to your insurance broker. Again, you're going to need some accounting software. If you look up QuickBooks, you can get some QuickBooks software for $100 to $200 a month. Again, this is something that I wouldn't tell you to buy until you need. Okay. And then last but not least, office space. I'm going to tell you, in this day and age, the virtual environments become very commonplace. It is very common for people to be working from home and virtually. So when you start talking about office space, and remember, this is going to drive up your rap rate as well. It's going to drive up your cost. So just be mindful of this. I know everyone wants their own office suite, and I get it. I understand. But we want to keep our costs low, especially if you're not at a point where you're making money. If you're not at a point where you're making money, do not burden yourself with unnecessary, superfluous costs. Just don't do it. Keep your costs low. But when you start thinking about office space, think about your co-working spaces. Think about spaces that you can go and you can rent a hot seat for the day just to be around other people. Think about office suites where you rent just a room. People like Regis do this for a lot of your small business. You can rent at just one office, and that's your one dedicated office. You don't need a whole building or go into a whole big, huge leasing ordeal. You can just rent an office with a desk, a phone. You just bring your laptop and your files, and you set up just like that. And then for those who have graduated, you may actually want your own building or an office suite. That's when you're going to find you a leasing agent. Now, when you start talking about leasing agents, it's going to be important that you do a cost benefit analysis based on net leasing calculations. I'm not going to do a real estate class here today, but I just want to throw out a few terms. And when you look at your net leasing calculation, you want to get the best net effective rate possible for your building. So I want you to think about the free rent. Sometimes they'll give you so many months of free rent. Think about tenant improvements if you need to actually do some building modifications to the space. Think about your rental term. And I want you to think about what type of lease you're going to do. Are you going to do a full service, or are you going to do a triple net? And then understand the cost implications based on the type of the type of rental package that you select. Okay. I hope we're not buying buildings. I'm not going to get into the depreciation expense and how, when you start off, that may not be the best financial decision for you, especially early on in your business journey. Okay, that is all that I have for this video. And I want you to come back and watch some of my past videos, and definitely stay tuned to new content. Hope you found value in this video. Hope it stirred some conversation, some ideas, and some thoughts of how you can navigate. But you can, in fact, I showed you, get your government contracting business up to speed for less than $1,000. Spend less than $1,000 until you secure that contract. You can always take your expenses up. But that's all I got for you in this video. I'll see you in a future video. Until next time.